Okay, let's look what we can do with this one. So this one, excuse me, it's a little different notation here, but basically this is telling us to take the third derivative. Okay, so let's go and do that. So taking the first derivative, we get 20 x cubed minus 9x squared plus 2. Okay, so we took the first derivative. Let's take the second derivative. So we get 60 x squared minus 18x plus 0. And taking the third and final derivative, we get 120x minus 18. Okay, let's see. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so now on this one, we are being asked to take a second derivative. So let's see what we got. Okay, let's go take that second derivative. So taking the first derivative, we get f prime of x equals 4x plus, now be careful, right? This is a sine of 2x, so this is a composite function. So it becomes the cosine of 2x times the derivative of 2x, which is 2. I'm going to clean this up just a little bit. So I get 4x plus 2 cosine of 2x. Okay, next we're going to take the second derivative. So let's go and do that. So we get second derivative equals, so the derivative of 4x is 4 plus, now I'm going to do 2 times the derivative of this function. So let's see what we got. So again, we have the cosine function on the outside, so that's negative sine of what? Of 2x times the derivative of the inner, so times 2. Okay, again, we could simplify that, but we don't need to. Moving right along. What do we got? Ooh, yikes, an implicit differentiation one. Let's see what we can do with that. Okay, so let's see. We got taking the derivative with respect to x, right? With respect to x, we get 2x plus, now notice we have a product there, right? So I'm going to pull that 3 out, and we have x times y. So the derivative of x is 1. 1 times y is y plus y prime x plus 3y squared y prime equals 0. Okay? Continuing, we get, let's see, I think I'm going to distribute. So I get 2x plus 3y prime x plus 3y squared y prime equals 0. So these are my y prime terms. Everything else can go onto the other side. So what do we get? We get 3. I'm going to write this as xy prime plus 3y squared y prime, and that's going to equal negative 2x minus 3y. Pulling out a y prime from both terms, right? So we have a y. Whoa, come back here. Where'd you go? So pulling out that y prime for both terms, we get y prime times 3x plus 3y squared equals negative 2x minus 3y. So y prime equals negative 2x minus 3y divided by 3x plus 3y squared. Okay, let's see here. Let's move on to the next one. I'm just going to check something real quickly, make sure. Okay, let's move on to the next one. What do we got? We've got, let's look at letter B. I'm going to do B and C, and those will be the last two for this one. So for B, we've got this. So again, this is done implicitly. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this algebraically. So I get y times x to the 1/2 minus x times y to the 1/2 equals 16. So again, products, right? Products. We got to recognize those little products rules. Students last year had a lot of problem with that. So let's do it. So take the derivative of y, we get y prime times the first, which is x to the 1/2, plus, now I'm going to do the derivative of x to the 1/2, which is 1/2 x to the negative 1/2 times the first function, which is y. Then, moving on to the next term, we get minus. I'm going to put this in parentheses. So the derivative of x is 1. 1 times y to the 1/2 is y to the 1/2. Plus, the derivative of y to the 1/2 is 1/2 y raised to the negative 1/2 times the derivative of the inner, so times y prime, times x equals 0. Okay? From there, what do we got? Let me double check that real quick. Let's just make sure everything's good on that one. So let's see. We took the derivative of y, and we got y prime. We multiplied that to x 1/2. That looks good. Plus, where are we at? We're taking the derivative of x to the 1/2, which is 1/2 x to the negative 1/2 times y. That looks good. So far, so good. Minus. Okay, so the derivative of x is 1. 1 times y to the 1/2 is y to the 1/2, plus the derivative of y to the 1/2, which is that, times y prime. I think it all looks good. Hopefully it is. Okay, what do we got here? Let's do some distributives. So I'm gonna rewrite just a little bit as I go. So I'm gonna write this as x to the 1/2 y prime plus 1/2 x to the negative 1/2 y minus y to the 1/2 minus 1/2 y to the negative 1/2 y prime x equals 0. Okay, so let's go identify our y prime stuff. So our things that have y prime. This has y prime, and this has y prime. Is that it? Let's see. Yeah, I guess so. All the way to here. I don't want to forget that x. So we are left with, I'm going to keep the x to the 1/2 y prime. I'm going to take that negative 1/2 y to the negative 1/2 y prime x. Actually, you know, if you don't mind, I'm going to rewrite this as xy prime. It's not a big deal. I like my y primes at the end, though. And that's going to equal, moving everything else over, that's going to be equal to y to the 1/2 minus 1/2 x to the negative 1/2 y. Okay. Whew. Let's keep on going. So y prime in each of these. So I'm going to factor that out. So I get y prime times x to the 1/2 minus 1/2 y to the negative 1/2 x equals all that stuff. So y to the 1/2 minus 1/2 x to the negative 1/2 y. And then finally, as you know, I'm going to divide both sides by that stuff. So my final answer is going to be, what do we get? We get y prime equals the y to the 1/2 minus 1/2 x to the negative 1/2 y all over x to the 1/2 minus 1/2 y to the negative 1/2 x. So let's do one more. Sure. What do we got here? With trig, right? No, I don't. I think this one may be even easier. I feel like this one's, I shouldn't say easier. That was a hard one. But I feel like this one will be a little bit easier than the other one. I could be wrong, though. Because we still have products. So, again, notice, I really want to emphasize. I'm going to emphasize this. I'm going to rewrite this and emphasize it. So it's really x times sine to the y equals y times cosine of 2x. There's a lot to unpack here, right? But we can't miss those product rules. So the derivative of x is 1. 1 times sine y is sine y. Plus the derivative of sine y is cosine y, y prime, times the first, which is x. That product rule to the left is done. Moving on, I'm going to take the derivative of a y. So derivative of y is y prime, multiply it to the second, which is cosine of 2x. Now I'm going to take the derivative of the second. So that's going to be the derivative of cosine is negative sine of what? Of 2x times the derivative of the inner, which is 2, times the first, which is y. Okay, from there, let's get our y primes on one side. So that's got a y prime, and this term's got a y prime. I think that's it. So I get cosine y prime, minus, I'm going to rewrite this a little bit different, cosine of 2x y prime. That's just to be clear. That's this term with just the y prime moved over. And that equals, what does that equal? That equals negative sine y minus, I'm going to just move this 2 out in front there. So I'm going to get negative 2 sine 2x y. Okay, from there is a y prime in both of these, right? There is a y prime here and a y prime here. So we can factor it out. So we get y prime times cosine y minus cosine of 2x. And that equals that right-hand side. And I'm going to be lazy and just copy and paste because I'm lazy. And then I'm going to divide both sides by that. So in the end, I'm left with y prime equals, copy and paste that top, all over that bottom. So we get cosine y minus cosine of 2x. So I think that's it for now. That was a decent amount.